Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel. And today we're going to be talking about the Halo series. The first episode has just dropped on Paramount Plus, so this will be a spoiler review for this first episode because I've not had the luxury, as some critics have, of seeing the first like 3 or 4 episodes. So we're going to be talking about this first episode, spoilers, and also if you have not seen this episode, don't watch this review. And I also preface this video by saying that I have never played the Halo games, although I have very small knowledge of the series and of the franchise in general. I am not an expert in this, so I'm a newcomer to the series, so I think I come with an interesting perspective as somebody who's being introduced into this world from a fresh perspective, from fresh eyes, without the baggage that comes with being a fan of the franchise and seeing a video game adaptation. So how does the series do as, a series, as a TV show, as, script writing and production design and just the story and the acting and everything that it comes with? I'm going to be talking about all of that. So let's get started right off the bat with talking about the negatives that I have about this episode, which I don't have a lot, honestly. I really dug this first episode. And I will say the visual effects for the alien creatures in the first 20 minutes are a little bit hit and miss. I think everything to do with the lighting of these creatures, being very flatly lit when everybody else is very harshly lit from the sunlight. I think that was something that they could have, fixed. I feel like that was something that is very, not simple, but, VFX has a lot of work to do, but I feel like matching the lighting is the first thing that you should look at in terms of making a visual effect thing fit in with the environment that it is in, and that just fell flat in that. But when you see these creatures in like the caves when they go in there, or in some of the darker scenes, it works a lot better. And so like I said, it's hit or miss for the visual effects in that, but overall the visual effects in this series look amazing. I know there's a lot of CGI used in terms of like the city landscapes and all the space shots and all of that, and I think all that looks very high quality. If this was a network TV show, I don't think Paramount Plus would be throwing nearly as much money as they are throwing at this show. I think visually it looks very striking. Whenever I watch a network TV show, I can immediately tell that it is a network show, just the way that it's shot and the way that it's edited. And I will say that this show does have commercial breaks that, you'll have the scene, it'll reach a climactic point and then it'll cut to black for a couple seconds and then it'll, fade back in or cut back into the scene. And you can definitely tell that those were gaps for commercial breaks, which I find very odd because other shows like The Mandalorian or some of the more cinematic shows on Disney Plus in terms of, the Marvel stuff and stuff like that, they have very seamless transition. Same thing with Netflix. A lot of Netflix shows, you would never even think that they would be able to throw a commercial break in anywhere. Like Ozark, for example. You would never imagine a commercial break watching that because it feels like a seamless thing. So that is my negatives overall of this show. But for the most part, in terms of the story and production design especially, I think this show visually looks wonderful. And I do think that there was some visual effects used for, obviously, the Spartan characters in general with their suits and with the visors, the reflections and all that. And I think all of that worked really well. This character being Master Chief, I think he has a lot of very similarities to The Mandalorian. And I'm going to bring that up because that is a show that I absolutely love, that I have reviews up on this channel for, and I can see the parallels that people are probably going to make between this show and The Mandalorian, with this, character having a certain code that he needs to follow by. He's part of this government system where he needs to follow these orders, and he's kind of conditioned. I don't know the history behind it, but I'm assuming that he was ripped away from his past because he's having these memories of his childhood that he was probably ripped from, and now he's being programmed to follow these orders. And now that he's kind of becoming a more free mind, he's able to do things like save this girl who is supposed to be executed by him in these orders given by the government, whatever their plan is, or whatever they're trying to hide essentially from Master Chief. And so you're seeing this kind of unraveling his character, and I find this arc to be always solid whenever they go ahead and do this in any sort of storytelling facet. So it will be, we'll just have to wait and see how this, storyline unfolds and how it turns out, because it could end up being trashed by the end of the season. But this is a very solid foundation for this character arc because he found this object, he touched it, now he's seeing these visions. I'm very curious to see how this all ties together and what he is doing, because he doesn't even know why he's doing the things that he's doing. I find that a very fascinating place to put your main character. And the girl who survived this, siege on this planet at the beginning of the episode, named KWAN Ha, she is also a very fascinating character to me as well, because her entire family was essentially murdered by these, creature aliens, and she was a part of this insurrection group on this planet who wanted freedom from this government space thing, corporation. I think it's US something, whatever it is called. I should probably look up what that is, but I'm not going to because it's midnight. But you get a quick little introduction to how they see this government's, imposing their laws on the galaxy essentially, and having her, kind of following her father's footsteps and wanting freedom for her planet. But not only that, but the way that she sees the Spartans as not being these heroic things, but as being these politically, charged and, these killing machines created by the government to, do their bidding for them essentially. And so to have her character be face to face with this guy who killed her mother. I think that is also a fascinating pairing, putting these two together and seeing her realize that there's something different about this Spartan, and something has triggered in his mind, and how is this relationship going to grow? Like I said, the Mandalorian, you have Grogu and you have the Mandalorian, you have Mando, and so you have these two characters who are an odd duo that somehow come together and work together. And I think this is very different because obviously Grogu was a baby, and so baby can't talk, and so this actress has to do a lot of heavy lifting. I thought she did a great job at portraying all these things, because this was a very, very fast-paced episode. There's not much character development that you can have on there. I wish you had more time with her family dynamics, with her father and all that, but you know, having that being an epic opening scene for a show, which was awesome, by the way, seeing all the very well filmed action and the stunts and all that in the first 20 minutes was a very fun thing to see. But I do wish we got a little more character stuff. But like I said, I think this is a solid foundation. If you see and you explore these ideas even more with her character throughout this entire season, I can find them putting together a very well done character arc for her and her relationship with Master Chief. So I'm very optimistic about how this show could possibly go. And in terms of more complexities, even in the actual institution, you know, on this planet, I think it's called Reach, you have Dr. Halsey, who I can't quite put a finger on whether I think she's going to be a good guy or a bad guy, because she seems to kind of be riding the line. You have moments where, you know, she's kind of against the government things of what they're trying to impose her to do, and, you know, she's trying to get some certain projects off the ground like Cortana that they seem to not be interested in. There's threats to shut down her Spartan program, but then she's also running the Spartan program, which you hear from KWAN's character, that these Spartans are not really seen as these heroic figures for a lot of people. So I don't really know what her stance is on these things. And you have all these, you know, these government agency people going up to the ship when they're about to crash land on the planet in Reach at the end of the episode, and you have her talk to her, you know, other Spartans saying, you need to protect Master Chief because he has some information, he has this, you know, object that she wants. And so there's all this thing. So I'm not saying, I don't know if it's selfish reasons why she wants this object, if she has ulterior motives for that, or if she genuinely wants to protect her Spartan characters or her Spartan team by telling her other Spartans to, you know, whoever, even if it's friendlies, if they're against Master Chief, they're against you. And so I don't really quite know where to put her in terms of whether I like her character in terms of you're a good guy, or whether I want to root against her because she's a bad guy. So I think they have a very solid foundation with her as well. And there's other characters that are in this government installation that you don't get a lot of character development for, or at least you don't get a lot of introduction to who they are. The series really just seems like it starts in episode 2. It seems like you had an episode 1 that you kind of deleted and you started right in episode 2, so the plot is already in full swing. And so there's a lot of these different puzzle pieces I'm not quite sure what to think of just yet, but like I said, it's a solid foundation to what I hope will be a great show. So have you guys seen Halo episode 1 on Paramount Plus? I'm curious to hear all your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you have some inside information on the Halo series, definitely comment down below. I'm interested in this world already, in these alien creatures. The only thing I really knew from the video game was the music. I think the music was iconic. My brother used to play this game and I used to play it every once in a while just on the online multiplayer thing with my brother, and so those are the very few things that I know about the series, but the music is something that I know is iconic, and I definitely loved the music in this episode, especially when it comes to the end when they brought the ship back to life and they flew off into the stars. That was all great stuff. So comment down below what you guys think of the Halo series. If you're a big fan of the franchise, I'm curious to hear your perspectives, as well as other people who have not been introduced into this series and are interested in watching as well. So I'm not sure if I will be doing weekly reviews for this. It'll depend on how the second episode is, if I love that episode or if I hate it. If I have some thoughts on it, I'll do that. If not, I'll have a review out for the end of the season once that is all wrapped up and done with. So subscribe to the channel if you want to see more reviews just like this one. Leave a like I said, subscribe, comment down below, and I hope to see you all in my next one.